What's happening, guys? Brandon here. Hey, remember back in November when I said that I was going to be making a Q&A video for my 13,000 subscribers and totally didn't make it? Yeah, a little bit of laziness on my part. I was actually thinking that I'd make the video once I hit 14,000 subscribers, and since I now currently have 13,900, I might as well just release it now. Think of it as a little gift and also a way to give you a break from all the Robot Wars videos. So, let's see what you guys had to ask. Rashil Patel asks, what is your advice on upcoming reviewers? I think now the whole pretending to be angry gimmick is kind of run its course, especially with Channel Awesome completely falling apart and all the whole forced drama that's going on. So, my advice to any new reviewers is just be yourself. Try and act natural. Like, how do you really feel about what you're reviewing? Do you like this movie? Do you hate it? Like, you can pretend to be angry for entertainment's sake, but not all this rage, forced, I want to kill the filmmaker kind of aggression. And also, the biggest advice I can give, never eat food while you're doing a review. I found that out the hard way. What's your opinion on the next Toy Story movie from this summer? I thought Toy Story 3 had a really good send-off. I mean, it pretty much showed that we've grown up with these characters, but now it's time to let them go, let them move on to the next owner. And I thought Toy Story 3 really did a good job with that finale. I don't know what Toy Story 4 can do to actually push the boundaries that Toy Story 3 did. I mean, I did hear in an interview that Tim Allen actually got emotional when he was done recording the lines for Buzz. Honestly, Pixar's been a little bit, Pixar have been very good with their movies, although Cars 3 really kind of fell apart. The Cars movies haven't really been all that great. And also the TV specials I've been kind of unmotivated by. But I am interested to see what they can do with Toy Story 4. Who knows, maybe it can surprise us all. What happened to your top 10 best YouTube channels video you did with Huey Toonmore? Of course, WWE in their meddling ways with copyright had to flag the video because I showed footage from Zack Ryder's matches. The good news is, I did upload it to Dailymotion. I do have a Dailymotion account with all my backlogs on it. There are some videos that I still can't get up there, like my Arthur and the Revenge of Maltasard review got blacklisted. I have no idea how the heck that happened, but yeah, I will post a link in the description to my Dailymotion account if you want to watch any of my old videos. I can't get monetization on it for some reason, I think, because you could actually monetize on Dailymotion, but for some reason they just decided to demonetize whoever they wanted. So yeah, I really wouldn't recommend. Like, if you want to make money off your videos, Dailymotion is not the way to go, but it is a good site to upload any old videos that you can't upload to YouTube. Who is your favorite villain? Slade from Teen Titans. Not the Go version, the Ron Perlman version. How old are you? I'm 10. Which one of your videos reviews is your favorite? As far as my regular Hardcore Kids series goes, my Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo review, I'd say, is my favorite, because I just had so much fun putting it together, all the gags and such. As far as my podcast goes, I really like my review of Zoe 101 episode of Robot Wars. That was our first ever unscripted type review where we're just ranting on about the episode and making fun of what was going on, and I had a lot of fun with it, and Nate had a lot of fun, Ryan had a lot of fun, so I look forward to doing more reviews of that type in the future. My Akira review, my whole Acid Eater series I really enjoy. There's some good ones that I really enjoyed doing. Will you do a top 15 or 20 worst YouTubers? That's way too many. I mean, the top 15 one, it was a bunch of YouTube channels that weren't even active anymore. It was clear that that a lot of it was just talked about. There isn't really much else you can talk about anymore. I did have an idea of doing a top 7, but at this point, I think at this point YouTube is just becoming like an entire drama anarchy. Like, you have idiots like Keemstar trying to report drama on his news program, but coming up with all stupid shit and made up shit and saying stuff that results in either the YouTubers he's talking about getting in trouble and such. And yeah, it's not really worth it. I did have a video planned. Like, I did write a script out for doing a rant on Mundane Matt. who is a YouTube channel who got popular after his YouTube channel got, or his one of his videos got flagged by Zoe Quinn, which led to the genesis of Gamergate. And now, years later, in 2018, he's the one who's been flagging YouTube videos now. So, yeah. If there was any reason to not care for Gamergate, that was it. Who are the YouTubers that you love now since your best YouTubers video? I've been following a great deal of new YouTube channels now. The Cinema Snob, I've definitely been following. I really enjoy his midnight screenings and his Cinema Snob episodes. I've been following the All Elite Wrestling channel. That's where they had the Bullet Club, Young Bucks, and all those guys. They had a YouTube channel going on for a while when they were part of Bullet Club. And now they've got this YouTube show called Being the Elite, where they basically do a whole bunch of sketches where they're it's basically like WWE, where they're doing their own sketches and booking shows and whatnot. And now with All Elite Wrestling coming out, I enjoy seeing I look forward to see what they're going to do with that. And yes, I am wearing my All In shirt. Me and Otaku Nate actually won tickets to the All In event last summer, and we had a lot of fun going to that, and met a lot of wrestlers and did all kinds of stuff. There's also Bob Show, who's another animation reviewer. He's a real nice guy, real funny. I really enjoy watching his reviews. I am subscribed to 6,000 YouTube channels. Are you kidding me? I'm still following some old channels like Epic Meal Time and Huey Toon Moore and Homestar Runner, Isaac232, who also known as the Media Hunter, and a few other of my favorite reviewers. As far as like Robot Wars reviews goes, I'm a big fan of Mr. Psycho. He does reaction videos of Robot Wars and BattleBots, sort of like the reaction channels you see on there, except he's funny. And as far as the commentary community goes, I watch Just a Robot. Yes, another robot-related channel, but yeah, he does commentary videos. He's gotten very popular. He just passed 100,000 subscribers, and I like his videos. I think he's funny. I like the robot persona, which I think really is pretty funny. Although I don't like the upside down face. But yeah, definitely worth checking out his videos too. And if you remember FPS Russia, the #1 best YouTube channel I picked, well, unfortunately he got arrested for because somebody sent him pot. And also he ended up having his guns confiscated, so yeah. But he does have, he is part of a show, a little podcast, live stream show called Painkiller Already with his friend Woody. And also Wings of Redemption was also on it, but unfortunately he had a falling out. Now he's just stuck doing shitty Twitch streams, playing video games where he's killed constantly. But yeah, I definitely check out Painkiller Already as well. And yes, I know, he isn't actually Russian. I am disappointed too, comrade. Which film review do you regret making the most? When I first started, I was very green, and I didn't know how to do timing. I didn't know how to tell good jokes. And I look back at a lot of my old reviews, and like my Mark Twain review, The Adventures of Mark Twain, I actually just recently went back and did some re-editing work, because it was 29 minutes long, and most of it was just padded out with scenes and shit. So I did a bit of re-editing, retooling, cut out some of the padding, and I turned a 29-minute video into a 23-minute video, and I'm very happy with that. I am thinking I do want to go back and redo some of my old videos. Like, my Nightmare on Elm Street 3 review, like, it's, again, 38 minutes long, and most of it is just letting the scenes play. And also because it was recorded off, my audio was very bad. Like, the video file I had was corrupted, and I was unable to fit it to a different file. So I had to actually record my... I had to use my video camera and record and put it next to my computer screen to record the audio, to record my lines and the audio so that I could actually get the file, and it was a mess. But I am thinking maybe I will go back and re-edit my Nightmare on Elm Street 3 review, get that fixed. Maybe add a little bit to my Nightmare on Elm Street 4 review, because I feel like I could have added more. A lot of people hate my Grim Adventures of the K&D review for some reason, probably because I said I'm not a fan of the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Maybe because I said I wasn't a big fan of the crossover, because a lot of people do like the crossover, and it's not the worst crossover I've ever seen, but I've definitely seen better. Like, Like, want to know a better crossover? OKKO crossover with Raven, Garnet, and, was it Ben 10? Yeah, it was Ben 10. I thought that episode was only 11 minutes long, and I thought that was a better crossover than the Grim Adventures of the K&D. So, yeah, but you know what? Everybody has different opinions. Are you still a brony? I still watch the show. I know season 9 is going to be the last season, but I will say I am happy that people were able to find a show that they could like. I think the fandom got very toxic, especially in the past couple of years. There was one particular brony who got kicked off the internet because it turns out he was doing sex chat with an underage girl. There's another brony reviewer named Jerry Pete or Lily Pete. This person says he or she's transgender, but has shown no evidence that they are transgender, and honestly, I think it's just using it as a crutch. I don't think her reviews are any good, and she's fallen right into the political spectrum, so to speak, using politics in videos, and that's the thing I don't like. I fucking hate politics, and I don't like when reviewers throw in their political standpoints and things like. I know I'm not a Trump fan either, but don't go on long-ass tangents going on about it, or going on about using lesbian relationships in cartoons, or any other political nonsense going in cartoons. Just watch, enjoy what you're watching, and if you hate it, go ahead. Don't shove your political standpoint in people's faces. But I still watch the show. I can't wait to see how season 9 is going to be, and hopefully it has a nice send-off. Favorite Father Ted scene? I love my brick! Why is Nuts 2 the greatest robot there ever was? Oh, that answer's simple. It inherited the power of Melty Brain. With Melty Brain, there is no stopping you. What is your favorite robot that you built? As happy as I am with Mondo Bizarro, it is a kit bot, and really all I'm doing is buying spare parts all the time and putting it together. But my favorite robot that I have built is Derpy! It's a big 2-wheel drive wedge with a titanium front, aluminum lid, UHMW sides, and a carbon fiber bottom. So, yeah, and it keeps going. I mean, the wheels like to fall off sometimes, and it's got pieces of the titanium's kind of bent and stuff, but it keeps going. And it took second at the last event it competed in, so, yeah. And no, this is not competing in BuggleBots. It's too heavy. Have you heard of the site about voice actors called Behind the Voice Actors? I actually did have an account on Behind the Voice Actors for a while, and I would do some voice acting auditions on the site, and I got a few voice roles here and there. It's an interesting site. I am also subscribed to a site called Voices.com, where I audition for voiceover roles. It's expensive, but you know what? If you're enjoying going on there and recording voice auditions, hoping someday that you might get a role, this business is tough. Like, I've auditioned over 100 times on sites like Voices.com and Behind the Voice Actors, and only twice have I ever gotten a role. That's how tough the voice acting industry is. There will come a time where you just feel like you're going to give up and that you're never going to get that role. Never give up. Just keep auditioning, do at least 100 voiceover roles a day, and see what happens, because who knows, you might actually get a role. Favorite video game? Grand Theft Auto. How did you start your robot combat hobby? I started watching Robot Wars on Nickelodeon and Tech TV, back when G4 was called Tech TV, and I got interested and wanted to get into it, and I found out that, number one, it's expensive to do. I mean, just one drive motor for a heavyweight robot is like $250. And I also found out that there aren't really any heavyweight events up here in the Northeast. Like, the heaviest event you can find is like the Motorama events, which is only like 30 pounds. But I did find out that with insect weights, it's much cheaper. You can budget yourself, and also, it's actually a lot of fun. There's also a lot of events in the Northeast of all the 1 pound and 3 pound weights. My first event was Penbots back in 2005, and I won a couple events from then. And yeah, that was back when I was competing with D12, which was the duct tape biohazard toy with aluminum sheets all over it. And Yeah, I started out small, but I think now that I'm with the community, where I've learned a whole lot, and I've managed to build a couple bots of my own. I'm still competing with Mondo Bizarro because it's the most powerful and the most successful bot I have, but I really do enjoy this community. Lots of fun events, and the next event I'm going to is the Norwalk event in Connecticut. I'm going to try and win that $1,000. And also an event in Vermont in April, so I'm definitely looking forward to those. What are your thoughts on the YouTube skeptic community? For those of you who've never heard of the skeptic community, they're a group of political commentators who try to oppose the social justice warriors and feminists and try to bring free speech to the internet. They kind of succeeded until it was later revealed that they are just as bad, if not worse, than the feminists. There's been times where a lot of these channels have doxed each other, swatted each other, flagged each other's videos, basically doing all the kinds of things that they were trying to prevent from the internet. There was supposed to be an event called Kilroy, which was supposed to be like the skeptic community equivalent of VidCon, and everybody ended up dropping out because the head of the event was a scam artist who kept trying to mess everything up, giving them a 16-month no-compete clause, and basically just there was animosity between all of them, and in the end, only 3 people ended up showing up to the event, and that was Mundane Matt, Doc Holliday, who doxed another guy, and also Mr. Repzion, who I haven't even seen footage of, but I heard he was there. Like anybody gives a shit about Mr. Repzion. There's only one member of this community that I follow, and he's not really a direct member of the community, but he's sort of like the guy there to troll them all, and it's Mr. Metokur. He's the only one out of all of them who actually seems level-headed. And I became a fan of his after he did those rants on Doodle Tones and Jonathan Ross, exposing them as pedophiles and such. And yeah, I definitely recommend subscribing to Mr. Metokur if you want to see some really messed up people or some lulzy YouTube channels and political commentators just making complete idiots of themselves. You know who you are, Soygon of Applebee's. Who is your favorite robot at Robot Wars throughout all of the show, in your own opinion? It's always tricky. Like, I was always a big fan of Behemoth. Like, I know they have the worst luck imaginable, but they always kept coming back. They're still competing today, believe it or not. They've been around for over 20 years and are still competing. And I gotta say, even though Antsbot doesn't always do well, you do know that he is dedicated. He definitely loves Robot Wars to still be competing. I have seen his robot compete on the live circuit, and it's still fun to watch. And it is refreshing seeing a robot that isn't a wedge flipper all the time. I even have a miniature version of Behemoth built called Brother Nero, which is really cool. I was also a big fan of Firestorm, and I was very happy to have Alex Mordew on as a guest for the last podcast episode, because I grew up watching Firestorm. I always loved it when they took on the house robots. Seeing them flip Mr. Psycho just made me a fan forever, and yeah, it's great. And I do hope that Graham Bone gets back into the robot combat community, because I'd like to see maybe a new Firestorm 6 perhaps. But yeah, I think Firestorm, Behemoth, and as far as the reboot goes, I really liked watching Carbide. It really is this generation's Hypno Disc, just completely shattering everybody. And I was happy they won Series 9. It's always refreshing to see a robot that isn't a flipper winning an event. What got you into the Ramones, and would you like to appear on the Pizza Party podcast? I got into the Ramones after hearing Pet Sematary play at the end of the movie of the same name, and I thought, you know what, this is a pretty damn good song. I better listen to more of this band's music. And hey, I became a big fan of their music. I would love to appear on the Pizza Party podcast. Like, Pan I've followed since the Channel Awesome Forum days, and I've been a huge fan of his work. And hey, if Pan's ever seeing this video, which is unlikely, I don't know, I'd love to be on the podcast, man. We can talk about cartoons, Raven, and cartoons, and Raven. And stuff. Tiny Toon Adventures or Animaniacs? Tiny Toon Adventures. Which Robot Combat Heavyweight Championship do you think is the most prestigious? Robot Wars or BattleBots? Definitely BattleBots. I mean, Robot Wars always has changed their awards over the years. Like, they started out with the weird logo and just a random logo on a sticker, and now they just have a giant drill bit that looks like Kilolot's lance. With BattleBots, it's always been the giant nut. Just this big 20-pound lump of metal that you're holding. It's got BattleBots on it, BattleBots Champion. That to me is the most prestigious. Do you ever see yourself building a bigger robot in the future to participate in something like BattleBots? Or are you content staying with Mondo Bizarro and the others going to conventions? I would really love to compete on BattleBots with my own big heavyweight robot, but the biggest problem is I just don't have the money. I don't have the money, and I'm also not hugely tech savvy. Like, I know how to use, how to work with speed controllers and motors and such, but it's like you see all these big heavyweight machines, and they not only have motors, they have all kinds of wiring, all kinds of speed controllers. You got to figure out how to work with machines. Like with Mondo Bizarro, you can just like buy some UHMW, cut some UHMW sides, maybe order some parts from sites, get some parts from Kitbots and Fingertech and such. But when you're looking at all these machines on on BattleBots, they're all built with mills, they're all built with all kinds of crazy contraptions, CNC. Like, I don't have the kind of material to do that kind of stuff. But even some of the Beetle weights I've seen, like Silent Spring, that thing was made out of a mark forging machine. That's like a $500 mark forging machine. Just putting all that together, it's like, I don't know. Maybe I would really like to join a team. Like, there are a lot of teams in the Northeast, some in Jersey, that are working on getting a bot ready for Season 4, but I don't know. But honestly, I am more comfortable with what I'm doing in the Beetleweight scene, and I have applied for BuggleBots in the UK. I don't know if I'm going to get in, but we'll see what happens. But I think I'm definitely comfortable working with little guys like this, and because I know the materials I'm working with, I know how to solder the speed controllers, motors, how to put together the weapon system and such. So yeah, but it would be nice to compete on BattleBots someday, just not right now. So yeah, that does it for my 13,000 subscriber Q&A video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope some of it was informative. I do have the Norwalk event this coming Saturday. I'll come back with a few fight videos. I'm also going to do a review of Robot Wars Extreme Warriors Heat E for my podcast next Tuesday, so look forward to that. And if you do want to see my backlog of Hardcore Kid reviews, be sure to check out my Daily Motion. Until then, guys, peace out and cease.